What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out our channel, and I can never ever express that enough. It really does. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for being involved. And let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Throwaway Order 3. Am I the arsehole for refusing to let my husband eat dinner with me and the kids? This might sound silly, but my husband loves food. Not gaming, not YouTube, his weakness is food. I don't hold this against him in any way, but he eats a lot. He's fit and regularly attends the gym, and sometimes I find myself cooking bigger portions of food because he'd attempt to eat from our daughter's plates, leaving them still hungry. We always run out of snacks as well, so there are times when I have to cook twice a day. Yesterday at 4 PM, I was out with the girls to get new haircuts. I already prepared dinner and left it in the fridge till we get back. I told my husband that I've put his portion aside for when he got back from the gym, so he could go ahead and eat if me and the girls were going to be late. I called him at the salon and he said he got home and had his dinner and was off to do some work in his office. At 8 PM, me and the girls returned home and I quickly went to the kitchen to reheat dinner because we were so hungry. I opened the fridge and the food I prepared was gone. I asked him and he said he felt hungry after eating early and ate our dinner. I was angry, kept thinking what we were going to eat. I kept looking for other options, and when I asked about other foods, he kept shaking his head, saying we already ran out of this and ran out of that. I bluntly said he was selfish to eat the girls' dinner. He said he couldn't help it, he's always hungry. I just went to order food from the restaurant for just me and the girls. When our order arrived, I called the girls and sat to eat. A few minutes later, he walked out of the office and was upset we didn't call him to join us for dinner. I told him he already had dinner, not once but twice, and I did not include him in our order since he's already ate. He lashed out saying that I was doing this deliberately, ordering food from his favourite restaurant. Pretty much all restaurants are his favourite, and excluding him from dinner and teaching the girls to treat him as an unwanted at the dinner table. I called him selfish. This dinner was for me and the girls since he already ate our previous dinner that I spent time making. He admitted he was wrong to eat our dinner and said he felt bad afterwards, but said it was totally worth it. There's no doctor, therapist or pastor that could help him out with this problem. He's just a man who loves food. But I was behaving passive aggressively towards him and implying that him nicking food is a problem, which is incorrect. We argued for minutes, then he went back into his office saying I should feel bad for excluding him from our meal. Needless to say, he hasn't spoke to me ever since and keeps teasing our girls about no longer sharing his snacks with them since they were okay with me excluding him for dinner. Am I the arsehole here? Now, I'm going to start off this one with a not the arsehole straight away. We could go for a you're the arsehole or everyone sucks here, which I'll explain in a moment. But this dude is eating from his children's mouths. He's taking food away from them and he's not respecting your wishes towards the food and just said, oh, I'm hungry all the time. What am I to do? Go to a fucking doctor and get it seen if it's that much of a problem. If I was with a partner and I cooked food for myself and for them and put it in the fridge later and I came back and they ate both of them knowing that one of them was mine, I would be fuming. But it makes it even worse that he's done it to the children too. So absolutely, I'm going to say not the arsehole, but where I was expanding, it could be that you are the arsehole. If he's done this before, it should have been stamped down a lot quicker. He shouldn't be taking food from the children's plates. It's just that simple. So it could be like an everyone sucks, oh, you're the arsehole. But I'm going to go with a not the arsehole in this situation for me. And let's not forget the behavior afterwards as well, where he turns around and almost says like you're the one that caused the issue by not inviting him to dinner afterwards after what he had done. Try turning the whole situation around to you. Yeah, you're not the arsehole in this situation to me. But we'll start with Shallow Mo saying, not the arsehole, but what are you doing staying with a man that will literally take the food out of your kid's mouth all day, every day? An Objective Locksmith 4 says, you're the arsehole for letting your husband abuse your daughters like this. Why aren't you protecting them? It's harsh, but what is it going to take for you to see his actions? Get off Reddit and sort out your house. Or at the very least see a therapist for why you permit this to happen to your children. Someone needs to start protecting them. And Thrill Doctor 1 says, not the arsehole, but your husband has a serious problem that needs to be looked at. No one is just that hungry that he eats his children's food and still wants more. but doesn't care that his kids have no food. He needs help. Has he always been like this? And Conton30 says, not the arsehole. He ate his own dinner, his wife's dinner and his kids' dinner and still wanted more. And said that eating his kids' food was worth it. Nope. And Exu says, not the arsehole. Does he have a tapeworm or something? You need to insist that your husband see a doctor. It's not normal for a healthy parent to prioritize themselves like that and not care if their kids are going hungry. It's a huge red flag that he doesn't care. He's literally taking food out of his children's mouths. And Consistent Leopard says, not the arsehole. Your husband's problem isn't that he likes food. It's that he's a selfish glutton who doesn't respect or really like his family. When I read that you're eating your dinner as well as his, my blood pressure went up. Him giving you the silent treatment and taunting his own children over snacks is very immature, manipulative and honestly abusive. Actually, the way they handled this entire thing is common abuse tactic known as DAVO. Deny, attack, reverse, victim and offender. I've never heard that before, it's quite interesting. And we'll have one more from Christina0001 saying, not the arsehole. People who simply love food don't eat food their children and spouse need to eat for a meal. That's either a compulsion, which is a mental health issue, or pure arsehole behavior. Wow. Now what do you guys think of this one? Pretty strong responses in the comments there, but what are your thoughts on this one? Let us know in the comments below. And we're following up with another food-based one from Gravity Respect saying, am I the arsehole for no longer letting my mother-in-law watch my daughter after she kept throwing away the food I sent? I'm a widower and have a 6-year-old daughter who's very picky eater and got worse after her mother's passing. She loved her mother's cooking and refused to eat anything that isn't made by her mother. I decided to learn to cook her favourite meals that my wife used to cook, and my daughter has been loving my version of her mother's cooking. I recently started working a new job and my mother-in-law started watching my daughter 3 days a week. I have my sister helping, so I'm doing good. I prepare meals for my daughter to take to her grandparents' house so my mother-in-law won't have to worry about what my daughter can and cannot eat. My mother-in-law complained about the meals I send and said I needed to encourage my daughter to eat from a variety of dishes. I already explained how my daughter is when it comes to food and that I'm already learning new dishes every week, so it's not repetitive. So last week I discovered that my daughter has been eating only snacks for days at her grandparents' house. She told me this and I was confused. I asked about the meals I send with her and she said her grandma would take them from her hand once I leave, throw them in the trash can, then tell her to eat the dishes she makes. My daughter refused and she's only been eating snacks at that house. I was enraged and I confronted my mother-in-law and she said that she didn't find that me sending meals with my daughter was the right thing to do and wanted her granddaughter to eat her cooking and was upset that she refused. She said it's my fault her granddaughter doesn't want to eat certain foods and that I was spoiling her rotten with this behaviour. I mentioned to her that the meals she threw away were my wife's recipes and that I struggled so hard to provide those meals, as well as taking the time to learn to cook them. She stated I wasn't doing a good job parenting and needed to get a grip because she's feeling concerned about how spoiled my daughter is being because of me. I eventually told her I won't let her watch my daughter from now on and decided to ask my sister for help. Father-in-law and sister-in-law kept calling me cruel for not letting them see their granddaughter. And father-in-law said that I overreacted and promised to convince his wife to let my daughter eat what she wants as long as she visits. But I refused to discuss it because right now I really don't want to take what they say as face value. Now, I don't know if it's the case in this one, so I might be reaching out here, so forgive me if I am. But as we always say, you know, people deal with grief in a whole bunch of different ways, and it's always acceptable to deal with grief in your own way, as long as it's not harmful to you. And we're talking about a 6-year-old here who's lost their mum like less than a year ago. And it sounds like, and again, I'm not 100% sure, because I can't truly know, but it sounds like she's using the food as like part of her grieving process at the moment. And I think the dad's doing the best job he can be doing. As I said, it's been less than a year since they've lost their loved one, and he's taken the time to prep, learn to cook these meals so daughter at least gets something healthy and good for her. And from there, they can move on to other things, get therapy if needed. It sounds like a 6-year-old may need therapy. Again, I don't know, but it may be the case, right? But if I take grief out of it as well for a moment, some people just are very picky eaters. I have a nephew who's extremely picky in what they eat. And I think sometimes lunchtimes can be a battle to get them to eat something. But as long as they're getting, you know, everything they need in their meal, like their nutrients and all that kind of stuff, that's good for them. I think you can always progress from there. However, onto the topic at hand, not the arsehole at all. I mean, she's taken away all her nutrients and given her snacks. I mean, what the hell? Not the arsehole. But Altera9 says, not the arsehole. You don't fix picky eating by letting a child go hungry. And Jasmina says, not the arsehole. I'm so confused why she would throw away perfectly good meals away, especially they also have sentimental value for your daughter too. It's very nice of you that you actually put time and effort to learn these recipes of your late wife. I'm also baffled that they're okay with letting a kid eat snacks but not actual meals. They are the ones doing a bad job, not you. You have every right to stop making them babysit her. An Aquarius Disaster says, not the arsehole. So first of all, let me say, I think you're doing an amazing job as a dad, especially one in a super hard situation. And I cannot express how sorry I am you and your daughter lost her mother. Most people would not make the effort to learn to make those meals and continue to learn. That is incredible. Food is such a personal thing and can have so many sense memories, and I'm not surprised that the food has been a part of your little one's grief process. She is so young to be without her mother, and I cannot believe that your mother-in-law is being so insensitive. So 1000% you're not the arsehole. Not only is her throwing away the food a waste of money, but also your time, and it's detrimental to your daughter's nutrition as well. Isn't it better for her to eat the home-cooked meals than snacks all day? Wouldn't the better option be to have her eat the packed meals and then slowly introduce other foods over time when she's a little bit more well adjusted? For God's sake, the kid has been through enough. This probably has deeper complex layers, I am sure, and I hope that she comes around, or at least bare minimum doesn't keep throwing away and wasting food. Hopefully normalcy will reign soon. Lots of love and light to you. And Copper and Node says, not the arsehole, your wife sounds like she was a really special person. And it's such a wonderful tribute to her to make her food. Your mother-in-law is a bully, full stop. Until she can be trusted to follow your parenting rules, she has, in my opinion, lost any right to be alone with her. Edit, forgot to say this, but an apology is only the first step to rebuilding trust. An Artesian Perspective says, not the arsehole, your mother-in-law is the arsehole. Your father-in-law and sister-in-laws are co-arseholes. You're not overreacting, your mother-in-law crossed the line. This is your daughter, not hers. She has zero rights to make these decisions for you. You have every right to not take what they say at face value. Your mother-in-law went behind your back. You have every right to not feel comfortable with your daughter staying with them. If you wish to make the time to take her to visit, but you would need to be there with her. One thing I would suggest, depending on where you live, see if there are grandparents' rights. They could potentially sue you for visitation. Wow, is that a thing? Kashi Bashi says, not the arsehole, she outright disrespected your parenting choices, your efforts and time, and your money spent all in one go. And she told you flat out that she would continue to do so. And we have one more from No Jellyfish 1208 saying, not the arsehole. First of all, it's food waste, unacceptable. Second, there are better ways to convince the kid to eat different food. Third, your daughter might really use some therapy. And now, what do you guys make of this one? What would you do if you was in that situation with mother-in-law? Let me know your thoughts and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story is from Hot Chocolate Human. Would I be the arsehole if I pressed charges on ex-employee after stealing her job? New account for anonymity purposes. My 26, mum 51 is a YouTuber and is kind of successful in her niche. When she started out, I edited and promoted all her videos and helped her with her journey. Now I am married and a stay-at-home mum. After she started making money, she hired her own editors, and then she started her own business and hired some other employees, and she's doing good now. I was the one who chose the said employees when she started out with the business, and I still give her business advice and stuff. I have always done all this for free. Lately I've been looking for a remote job. I will be honest, I don't need this job, but I thought it would be nice to use this money for spending on non-essential things like shopping and vacation and gifts and stuff. I asked my mum whether she had any openings, and she said that she was looking to fire one of her editors for her poor work ethics so I can take her place. My mum gave Elsie the news but told her to take her time, and a few days later I dropped by to collect info about the project she was previously working on. She was clearly shocked to learn that I was the one taking her place. I should also say that my mum will be paying me more than she did Elsie. She was very cold to me, which was understandable. Soon she started bad-mouthing me and my mum to other employees, and about nepotism and how that money put a roof over her head, whereas I don't even need it or deserve it. Full disclaimer, I am a computer science engineer with an MBA, so I'm qualified for this job and I do have experience with years of freelancing and working for my mum for free. Elsie threw a tantrum in the office and recorded it and made a YouTube video calling us bitches on exposing the real person and how I stole her job. Elsie also leaked some information about a new brand that my mum was launching this December. It was done in a candid manner, but still, information went on without our permission. I want to press charges, but would that make us double the arsehole? My mum just wants the video taken down and she has agreed to let it go, but I am not so sure. And there's a whole bunch of edits right here, so we'll start with them straight away because I'm not sure whether to have them before or after the comments, so we're going to go ahead straight away. Edit 1, I didn't steal her job. Elsie would have been fired with or without me in the picture. Elsie wasn't a good employee to start with. I understand that it was poorly handled, but stop plastering nepotism over it when I am perfectly qualified with experience and proven results. I can find another job easily, I just chose not to because I want to work with my mum. I'm getting paid more because of my qualifications and experience and not because I am her daughter. Edit 2, stop sending me threats and indecent messages on private. Absolutely never do that. Edit 3, I never disclosed my salary to Elsie. I only gave full disclosure here because I wasn't to be honest about what really went down. I am getting paid more because I have more qualifications and experience than her. I've been working for my mum since I was 18 to 19ish. I have 2 sisters. I really doubt my mum would ever hire them just because they are her daughters. I was only hired because she knew I can do the job. I would also like to make clear that I wasn't born with a silver spoon. Me and my mum put in consistent hard work in building everything we have right now, and it didn't happen overnight, so your claims that I run my mum for money is invalid. I 100% choose to work for her. I talked to a lawyer regarding this, not for suing her, but for general advice. Technically, we can sue her given that she leaked confidential information, in addition to feeding lies to the public about how the situation went down. She did sign an NDA. The brand my mum is about to launch is with collaboration with another big name, so what Elsie did not only affects my mum, but also a third party. I don't want to sue Elsie because she called me a bitch, but because of her behaviour and the information she leaked. Some people here have made me realise that it would be an over-the-top reaction. I'm not going to proceed with it, but I can't talk for the other brand involved in this. We do have documentation of Elsie's poor performance, and my mum did warn her multiple times. In fact, upon further inquiry, I learned that my mum gave a deadline to Elsie to complete the work or find a new job, and Elsie was fully aware of this. All the other employees are proof of Elsie's long-term unprofessional behaviour. My mum just wanted to let go Elsie slowly because of the pandemic, but well, her compassion backfired. We learned that business shouldn't be mixed with personal feelings. Starting from now, everything will be dealt by HR, whom we'll be hiring soon. Now, I might have a potentially sketchy take on this one. I'm not totally sure. I'm not sure where I stand, but I'm going to go for it anyway, and you guys can always educate me if I'm wrong. As you know, I'm always happy to be educated. In a constructive manner, of course, I hope. I think there's bad behavior from both sides in this one. At least it looks very sketchy to me that suddenly you're looking for a job and then someone's being conveniently let go. It kind of felt that way as I was reading it, and it might not be the case because if what you're saying about Elsie here is true and she's leaked stuff that she signed an NDA that she wouldn't be leaking and she was slacking on her projects and all that kind of thing, then absolutely Elsie's going to be the arsehole in the situation. To then record your little tantrum as well and put it on YouTube, that's a double arsehole behavior to me. That's so unprofessional. But was the boss and OP in this situation being an arsehole too? Were they being unprofessional? I think it's one of those situations where, you know, everything could be handled a bit better. There's probably a better way of dealing with it. I'm not sure what way it was, but I'm going to go with a potentially controversial, not the arsehole in this one. But we'll start with Primish Directive saying everyone sucks here, you all behave like children and dreadfully unprofessionally. How are you, an adult woman with a post-grad degree, who doesn't know you can't press charges on a civil matter? 1. Your mother was insanely unprofessional in how she treated her employee. 2. You were unprofessional in how you treated her employee. 3. Elsie was unprofessional in her video, but honestly, kind of feel for the girl. Honestly, I don't buy that Elsie's performance was unsatisfactory or that your mother was going to fire her, and frankly I doubt a magistrate would buy it either. And Sint Elvis says you're the arsehole, but you did steal her job. None of this happened until you went to your mum asking for work. Until then, firing Elsie was just a nebulous idea. You were the catalyst. There's nothing wrong with it, but how do you not see how this looks to poor Elsie? And Petri Plays Music says, what's wrong with you people? If Elsie posted here, she would unanimously, unequivocally be deemed the arsehole. She leaked company information because she was upset, and that's a reasonable response to being let go. Nepotism or not, her behaviour was completely inappropriate and unacceptable. Expose video fine, OP is out of her damn head for pushing the issue, but you're delusional if you think Elsie is right. ETA, everyone sucks here. And Little Latte says, you're the arsehole, your mum can hire and fire whomever she wants if their performance isn't up to par. Of course it looks shady as fuck to Elsie that you're stepping into her job. That information should never have been available to her. If the files for her projects were needed, they should have been collected by Elsie's superior, which I assume was your mum. Extremely unprofessional behaviour on your parts. The legality of recording their own tantrum in the office is questionable, but pressing charges is likely to lead to the Streisand effect. What charges can you actually press on her? Your mum has the right idea here, and it's her business, so this time defer to her wishes. Yeah, and agreeing with that comment right there, and in such that the crossover period, you shouldn't have went straight up to them to, take over their project and find out what they're doing. Of course, that's going to look, as I said in my first comment, shady as fuck. That you're suddenly stepping into this position, mother's daughter is stepping into your job, it will look shady. So yeah, I totally agree with that. And Highwood Shady says, you can't get arrested for defamation, it's a civil action. And then there was a few comments as well saying about you can't press charges, you watch too many movies, blah blah blah. And Lurking Gentropy says, I'm not really sure that I understand the votes of you being the arsehole or your mum doing it. She already had someone that was pretty much in the process of firing and you asked at an opportune time. I'm not sure how or why people say it's nepotism. You could do the job and have. She didn't fire the other person because you asked, she was doing it anyway. I doubt you can do much with a video unless you can get it taken offline for including proprietary information, or if you were in the video without permission. I'm not sure how that'd work. I'd go with your mum's direction though, since it's her business. I'm going with not the arsehole on this. And one more from Madeline Gumbo saying, everyone sucks here, you don't press charges for defamation. You'd bring in a civil suit. In this situation, it sounds like that would be a ridiculous overreaction. Wow, and there's a whole mix of comments there, so yeah, I'm glad I wasn't the only one who's confused on this matter on where to go. As I said, I can certainly see, negatives from both sides in this one, but I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with not the arsehole. Don't hate me. But anyway, what do you guys make of today's collections of stories? What are your verdicts on today's stories? I would love to hear them in the comments below if you have a moment of your day to do so. And just a huge thank you for spending 20 minutes or so with the channel and getting involved. If you'd like to support the channel further, it'd be absolutely amazing of you, but never any pressure either, by clicking that join button down below for YouTube or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. Thank you so much for your love, your time and your support, and I will see you cheeky so-and-so, in the next one. Much love, guys.